Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back to the Mechanical Room.
Welcome to the Mechanical Room. A Centrotherm production focusing on all things in and around the HVAC industry. And now, your hosts, Michael Sakaris and Matthew Price.
Feeling zany in here?
Much coffee
Actually, I haven't really had much coffee at all this morning. It's just,
I'm not going to ask any other questions.
No, I haven't done any uppers. No drugs today. Fully sober.
Okay, welcome. If you weren't awake a second ago, hopefully you are now.
We got a great show.
We do.
So we've got really a spectacular Show Us Your Pipe. I mean, we bullshit for a little while about random stuff, but today we just hop right into the show stuff. I mean, we have maybe the best Show Us Your Pipe of all time. I mean, arguable, but
in the top three at the very least.
We could have a debate.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in the conversation. No
Absolutely.
question about it. Spoiler alert. Next.
And no diamond plate, and it still makes the ranks.
Which should indicate to fans of the show how
good
spectacular
it is.
this is. Because typically, if you just if you staple some venting to a wall, but there's diamond plate, I'm going to say it's great. That's it. If you just use
That's criteria number one.
hot glue,
rubric of awards.
That's it. Usually, I don't even look past it. That's it. Diamond plate, you're good. Perfect stuff.
But it is quite amazing.
I mean, shoulder to shoulder with any of the installations that we've highlighted on here. I mean, just amazing stuff. And truth be told, I'd like to have Dylan on to talk about a little further because
we should.
I mean, you saw how many zones there were, right? I mean, it's just wild. What is going on? What are they heating? What are they doing with this?
Massive building. Of some
Yeah.
sort.
So fantastic stuff. Really one of our best. And I'm not sure. I'd have to think about it. Have we had two guests on simultaneously before?
We've done some Instagram Live with two, but I don't think we've had any double guest episodes.
So today we have a special one because we have Ryan Kiscaden, who is making his return to the Mechanical Room.
Yes.
And he's here to promote his new book, The Air Came to a Stop. And along for the ride is Bart James. He's the CEO and president of ACCA, which is the Air Conditioning Contractors of America.
Correct.
So, I keep saying air conditioner. No, it's Air
Acronyms.
Conditioning Contractors of America. ACCA or HVACA, depending on how you say it.
ACCA.
I'm going to go ACCA. It rolls out of the back of my throat a lot more
Much better.
naturally. It sounds, otherwise it's like a little phlegm back there,
I don't want to do a Heimlich on you anytime soon.
No, one time on Rob Mahoney, that's all you ever needed, right?
I'm an expert now, I guess.
He saved our East Coast regional sales manager life. The guy was trying to eat a whole steak in one bite, and Scaris had to pop that out of him. So he's still with us today, thank goodness.
We are life safety products.
Life safety.
So we do life safety techniques.
UL 1738, CPR, all of the acronyms, ACCA, and then the whole 9 yards. So incredible Show Us Your Pipe, 2-for-1 double shot guest scenario. And so that's this episode. But on the horizon, we got the HVAC doctor on the schedule coming up in a future episode.
That is true. I saw that. I'm excited about
So
that.
he's going to diagnose us and all that sort of stuff.
He needs a lot of help.
He's got the great bedside manner.
He does.
I'm making
Very matter of fact, very knowledgeable, hence the doctor.
so many doctor puns are available.
That is true.
He's going to do the checkups on us and take our vitals.
Once
and
he
the whole
sees
9
this
yards.
episode and how we started it, he may not want to do it.
He's going to prescribe himself some drugs.
That's a good thing.
So lots to come yet on the Mechanical Room. But for today, let's get right into
Let's get going.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What time is it, Matthew?
It's time to marvel at these amazing photos that have been popping up over here. 90s
somebody-
Sakaris is the best. I don't know.
90. How do you know that there are 90 of them?
No, 90s Sakaris.
Oh, 90s,
I don't know,
yes.
Can we see this? We just want to make it. These are everywhere in the building.
Pictures of myself.
Show us your 90s headshots.
That was the day. I wish I was that young again.
You look pretty much. You're pretty much there.
There's a lot more gray.
A little more gray.
A little more sophistication. Loss of an earring. That happens.
But you can put it back in at any time.
I can put it back in at any time.
Pull the one out of your nipple. Put it in your ear.
I do not have one there.
Yet.
Not yet.
Team building nipple piercings.
No way, no way, no way.
I bet you we can convince Bill to pierce his nipple.
You might. Bill's a little bit more adventurous than
I think he might do it.
Welcome back to the Mechanical Room. It is time for Show Us Your Pipe.
And we're actually doing Show Us Your complete your complete Instagram, because right now Next Gen is crushing it.
Some of the most intricate, precise work that I've ever seen. It's hard to escape not being recognized. So we got to give kudos to Dylan at Next Gen. Just some amazing work.
So these guys are out of Jersey. I believe these are all happening somewhere around Central and North Jersey. We're gonna show two different things today. You want to play the reel, Jordan, and we're just going to react to it in real time. I mean,
real time.
Yeah, we can see.
There was Dylan walking through. Look, what's amazing to me is it's on the wall. It's on the ceiling. I mean, it's a three-dimensional, amazing room. Centrotherm pipe, of course, there. Some Webstone, some Taco. What else are we looking at there?
Spirotherm. I don't know what.
I missed that one.
I don't know
some
what.
Taco pumps.
I don't know what T-Drill is, and Rem's Tools, obviously a tool company. I do like that he did tag South Amboy Plumbing. I believe that must be his distributor.
That is his distributor of choice, I believe.
So
some NTI units there.
I mean, this is just magnificent. This reel is obviously done very professionally to showcase what is, an installation that would sit side by side with anything I've ever seen done, more or less. I mean, the intricacy of the piping is. I mean, we're talking MC Escher stuff here. It's everything is super crisp and parallel. I mean, I love those little angled guys that are going into the valves. I mean, it's just so neat. It's so orderly.
If I was the owner of this house, I would give my friends a tour.
Yeah, it's
to wow them.
Put a couch in the room over here. Just gonna sit. We're not gonna watch the game. We're just gonna sit. We're gonna sit amongst the mechanical systems here and just marvel at all of the pumps and the valves and the great venting and what. Yeah. I mean, just unbelievable. All right, Jordan, let's cycle to those photos. We get some still shots here. So they did a great job documenting this. Here's a clear picture of the whole deal: the tank, the pumps, the tankless heaters. The venting. I mean, that is just it's amazing. It looks like it's sci-fi.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, this is like the mechanical room on the USS Enterprise. More or less. We're keeping Picard nice and he get his
warm.
Captain gets the hot showers over here on the bridge or whatever. I mean, this is so technical, so crisp. I mean, these photos are magnificent. I mean. What do we? What does it say in the description? What we're even looking at here? 50,000 square foot, 11 bathrooms, 3 million BTO load. So 11 bathrooms. This is maybe a hotel, maybe an Airbnb,
I don't know,
a mansion of some sort.
A mansion, I would say.
I mean, 11 bathrooms is a lot. I mean,
he's been working on one house where he's put in a ton of radiant. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the project.
So I mean, 11 bathrooms. Even mansions don't even have 11. I mean, what kind of a mansion has 11? Does the White House have 11 bathrms? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, that's that's a lot. I mean, I've only been outside of it as well. Mostly just booing from the outside. So
I went there and I said the Pledge of Allegiance.
So this is fantastic. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Honestly, we should have Dylan on just to talk about this.
We should.
We should. So we'll schedule that.
If we do the Christmas special, maybe it's a follow-up to some of these installs. Do we have the other video where he in the same week did a roof installation of Flex?
Yes.
I think it might be in the stories.
Yep.
If it's handy, if we can throw that up.
But first he's unboxing. Woo! Hello. Here's a nice bag of goodies and obviously a Flex cable. And
Not the 15,000 square foot house there, of course, because he's got a neighbor. How'd you get on the roof?
That would be the magic of the GIF supplying program. So
with Flex, as you know, they are instead of relining the chimney or putting something through B vent that may have, or removing the B vent that may have been there, they are sliding down the Flex and putting in what most likely will be a high efficiency appliance down there. Not most likely will be.
And this is
high efficiency appliance.
This is a time lapse, obviously, but as you can see, it goes very quickly. They do something that's interesting. Not everybody has the same approach. Which is something that one of the things that's very interesting to me is how people approach this. Right. I've seen people at the feed it up through the bottom and put the spacers on as they go.
Yeah.
This is twice now we've seen the folks at Next Gen kind of
Top down.
pot the whole thing out, including the termination.
Yes.
And then pop, and just pot it right down the chimney.
They assembled the finished piece on the termination in advance and attached it to the
Yeah.
flex. That's what others have done it the same, top down, but then assemble the chimney cap.
Yeah.
Afterwards. I kind of like this because it's all done.
Interesting.
You slide it in and you're done.
And to be fair, our chimney caps are incredibly durable, so it's not like it's there's no danger in harming it in any way. So I mean, it must be. They have obviously done the calculation to say that this is the quickest way for us to do this. And I mean, again, you can see that it's. It is with two guys here. Dylan has done it certainly by himself before.
Yes.
But I mean, bang, they're in. And
he's off the roof.
They've lined that thing in the cold of November in seconds, really. So, anyways, Next Gen, they're
Nice job,
absolutely
Dylan,
just.
Dylan and
I
team.
mean,
Wonderful work.
Raising the bar here in ways that everybody should be aspiring to do. I mean, that initial installation, again, it's shoulder to shoulder with anything I've seen. The greats of the industry, the mechanical hubs, the Flintstones, whatnot, the
FAR mechanicals.
FAR, exactly. We're naming the titans here, and this type of installation is as pretty as any of those, and I assume it works too.
You would hope. I think he knows what he's doing.
I mean, I think that those pumps have they're not just it's just not an outer box. There's actual stuff inside there.
Yes.
So,
Nicely done.
Congratulations. We got a pile of hoodies and winter hats coming your way, guys.
So you're warm when you do your next roof install.
That's it. Welcome back to the Mechanical Room, and we have a very special 2-for-1 double interview for this episode.
Nice.
We have esteemed child author, kids book writer, Ryan Kiscaden here. He's previously been on the podcast, and we're here to promote his new book. And the sponsor of said book, Bart James, who is the president and CEO of ACCA, the Air Conditioner Contractors Association. Or no, I messed that up, didn't I?
You got it really close.
Really close. The Air Conditioner Contractors of America.
Yep.
We got it. All right. That's it. All right. So a lot of acronyms. A lot to keep track, but we're going to learn all about that today. Welcome to the show, guys. Really, really excited. Your previous book, Ryan, is amazing. Glad that we're now looking at not quite the sequel, but obviously the second in a series of trades-focused children's literature, which has a very specific goal, right? So, Mike, why don't you greet our guests?
Welcome to the Mechanical Room podcast, gentlemen. It's great to have two guests at the same time. Two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about the book, why don't we start off with Ryan?
Yeah.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about the topic of your current book.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on this show, and I always enjoy the conversations. So yeah, the second book is about the HVAC industry. So it was written to really help highlight HVACR technicians when they're completing jobs in homes and businesses, the things that they do every day, thinking about the comforts of HVACR. So the story is really told to highlight how there's an issue caused by someone, a child in this case, in a school, but they call contractors to come resolve the issue. And you can read all about it here, I'm sure, afterwards, but it has industry vocabulary. It has great illustrations to highlight these pieces of equipment and also the parts and components that make up HVAC systems. And really it's just a way to introduce kids at a younger age to the amazing industry that we have here in the HVACR space.
So I have a million questions. I want to talk about your first book a little bit about the resume, how you got to where, how this concept happened, how you got the ACCA involved. I want to hear Bart's take on all of this sort of stuff too. But you used a phrase that immediately I want to ask about. So It's children's literature. You said HVAC terminology or technical terms, something along those lines.
Right.
About what age group is this for, and how technical are you getting? Like, what's the height of the terminology that you're using? Children don't like to be talked down to, in my experience. So I'm sure you're striking an interesting balance here in terms of educating and also showing, where this industry goes and whatnot. So I'm just curious. Talk a little bit about the reading level and how technical these books are getting.
No, great point. So the age range of this book is 4 to 10 years old. So it's intended to either be read to children, by the parent or the guardian, or for them to read it themselves. So I have an 8-year-old at home. He is able to read the book. We witnessed and listened to him read through the words. So it's been awesome. And to hear words like thermostat and refrigerant, things that, again, we know in our industry, but they're not likely exposed to unless their parents or others are in the industry. So, certainly there are words that they will need some help with. One of the words in the book is capacitor, but generally speaking, the story is written in a way that can be consumed, in that 4 to 10-year-old age range. Really the point of the storyline was to, have a problem caused, but then resolved by these HVACR technicians. And they do that by sort of, showing their expertise. What do they check in these systems? How do they arrive to where they find the issue? But more importantly, they resolve the problem. And then the kids, and in this case, the students, celebrate that these technicians were able to solve the problem. So the words are really intentional in that we didn't, hide any words from, younger age. They're really still mostly the words, but very careful about what did we pick. Things like vent was a word is in the vocabulary. Damper is another word. Again, things that they're not going to know about unless they are exposed to it. And then, another comment I would make is we did a test run of this book in a pre-launch party before it came out. When we had a contractor there showing each one of these products in front of the students in these age range, and the reaction was some of them knew what a thermostat was. Maybe that's because of the smart ones out there, but they knew the word, they kind of understood what it meant. The tougher ones, they were a little bit, harder for them, but I think afterwards they were able to sort of memorize them and recall them. Probably the funnier word recalled was ductwork. And again, we've all kind of laughed about that word. Is it really a duck in there? But no, it's actually duct, D-U-C-T. But generally speaking, I think we try to address the reading ability through the way it was written.
So you test drove it with your 8-year-old daughter, your 8-year-old son?
8-year-old son, yeah. So he read the book aloud, but we did have a few test reads with friends, family, and others. And quite honestly, one of the biggest things we heard was the term HVAC is kind of confusing to kids. Do you say kind of HVAC? Is it you spell that out? And so we actually put a sentence in the beginning to the readers, whether it's the young person or the parent or guardian, to suggest on how do you say that. Now, in our industry, as we all know, it should be HVACR, put in the R at the end, but sometimes it's also known as HVAC for short. So we spell that out right in the beginning so the readers understand that.
Yeah, so actually I've even seen HVACD these days for dehumidification. And I mean, so it's all changing. I mean, and it is important to obviously define those terms. Does your 8-year-old son have any opinions on the upcoming A2L refrigerant switch?
He's all for it. He's a young child. It's about the future.
Like in our industry, I think we're an industry made of acronyms. So yes, they love acronyms. But I will say safely, we did not mention A2L specifically, but we did put refrigerant in the book.
Did you make any edits based on recommendations from the young crowd that read the book, your child?
Always. Yeah, we always make recommendations and changes based on that. So really what we heard was sometimes the story could be a little long, so we try to chop it down. We also heard there were pieces in there that were a little confusing, like why would in this case Gomer, one of the characters, why would he do the thing being described? So we adjusted that, and luckily too, ACCA was great about this. Was we also had their technical team take a look at the manuscript ahead of time just to make sure that it wasn't totally out of place in a fictional story, the things that we're having them do. We did make some adjustments based on those findings, but one of the things that they raised kind of hilariously was that no gopher would ever jump on a pogo stick into a vent, which is in the story. So
that's
calling
hilarious.
you back to reality, are they?
Well, you mentioned our friends here at ACCA, so let's turn over to Bart real fast. I mean, I'm curious to get the 10,000-foot view of your take as president and CEO of this organization. Like, how does Ryan come on your radar, and where does children's literature fit in your mission statement and overall agenda as president of this organization?
Well, pleasure being on as well. Thanks so much for the interest in what Ryan's created here, and ACCA is proud to partner with Ryan as a way to tackle the the number one challenge for the industry. It's not, I mean, it's the entire industry, but contractors are on the front lines, is workforce. So we've got to do that differently. I don't think any of us have the silver bullet for how to do it, but we're blessed to work in this industry we know how important it is, but other people don't. We got to see that at the first of COVID, where HVAC wasn't recognized as essential. Ryan's first book, I think, is a great example of another aspect of the trade that is on the plumbing side of the water, but the air is something we take for granted. I mean, heck, even how we, use the term and how we spell air conditioning. I mean, we can't even always agree on that. And then even our name of ACCA, the Air Conditioning Contractors America. What I'm proud of, we're part of setting the standards of how proper HVAC installation's done, and what Ryan's done here is a way to work on the most important part of that. It's the workforce, but we have the challenge. Our whole country, our whole world depends on this stuff. I mean, from refrigeration, from our vaccines we depend on, to now technology, all the server farms, all of our security for our country, all depends on the heating and cooling to make that happen. So it's no longer something we just take for granted. And our board chairman, the statements in the back of the book, Martin Hoover, he's like many of our members, he's challenged by that constraint of workforce. And unfortunately, the schools aren't producing the students we need. So, and our world's changed. I mean, most of us, if we were to share about the first job we had and where we went to work, it's going to be 7 years prior to when folks now are starting work. So if we're not planting those seeds earlier on to get people to think about the career path and see opportunities beyond just the traditional 4-year college, we're missing an opportunity to get to people and get them to understand this amazing industry.
How do you see the tie-in between ACCA and the book? What was the motivation to partner and to sponsor the book? Obviously, we're all about the trades and getting it better, but how did you guys draw that connection?
Well, I mean, first of all, relationship with Ryan. He was one of my resources when I first started in this industry. I married into this world. My father-in-law is a contractor, member of the association, and commercial contractor out of Louisiana. Brother-in-law is one as well over in Texas. So I'm blessed to have, that kind of insight, but I'd actually officially joined in 2016 leading our government relations. And, that was one of the top things that rose to the list of things that we needed to work on. So it was a pleasure to, know that Ryan had this passion and a different way to tackle it. I'm a big believer in that. I think too often, this industry, I think the nature of the work, it kind of carries over to distributors, to the manufacturers, definitely at the contractors, is how to deal with tomorrow, how to get through today. And we've got to move from checkers to chess. We need to think about 5, 10, 30 years out from now on how we do stuff, and starting with our kids. I can't think of a better way, but this will be read by an adult. So it's a twofold kind of win. Not only hopefully are we planting the seeds for a future workforce, but what we're seeing, some of the best folks coming in are people looking to regroup on their career path. Maybe they worked in something that they realized, oh my goodness, we don't have to have what I do. But that's not the case here. So every, hopefully, parent that reads this to their kid, every teacher that's there that reads this will plant that seed for them, and it'll spread from there. So to me, that's more chess than checkers. We need more chess in this industry. So we all need to think that way further out.
Yeah, certainly. And that is a children's literature with the goal of recruitment is obviously a long-term play. So that is chess, setting up the pieces on the board for future advances and whatnot. So, obviously good on you for thinking in the macro, let's say. In my head, I have I've got these visions of like little Padawan Jedis, and then they grow up to be, air conditioner Jedis, we're the Jedi Council here as we grow up to be full-fledged, journeymen and professionals and all that sort of stuff. And I do want to add a slight side note about what we do here on this podcast is essentially a celebration of the trades overall because of some of the stuff that you hit on, including the stigma of what it is to work a trades job, which certainly is changing, but still is present there. So we try to uplift everybody. Obviously, we're a heating company, and we've got the president.
We have airside stuff on the air that we're.
We do, but we're not air conditioning, and that's who we're talking with today, essentially, right? And then the whole idea is to advance the trades and to uplift and show how professional it is. and that you can be proud of this work and make a great living and kind of function as a superhero, because people don't realize that they're cold until the heat goes out. They don't realize that they're hot until the air condition is gone, or that they're the meat spoils in the fridge because the power's out or whatever it is. And all the people who come and fix those problems are much more tangible superheroes than Thor or whatever. Those are the people who actually help you live comfortably, be it in a hospital, a hotel, a nursing home, your own personal home, in this office, et cetera, et cetera. It's like a really, really critical thing. So I commend you both for, kind of working to bolster and build a foundation of this workforce, which actually brings me to my question, which is, why is there a dearth of these workers if all of this positivity that I just said is true? I mean, we talk to professional installers every day who are making a great living, super proud of their work, showcasing it online and beyond. Getting to travel the world in some cases, not in all cases, but getting visiting the REMS booth in Germany at the ISH show or something like that. There's tremendous opportunity here, and it's one of the more lucrative professions out there across the trades. That is, AC, plumbing, all these. There's work. There's work. So why is there a limitation on the current workload, and why do we have to address this problem?
Ryan, you want me to jump in?
Go first, and I'll go next.
All right. Well, I mean, boy, there's not one answer for that, or kind of way to tackle it. But I tend to live in the space of kind of where federal policy is shaped and where funding, your tax dollars, our tax dollars are spent. And it starts off with, again, I'm thinking of chess instead of checkers, but the playing field's not level. So where people are kind of incentivized through taxpayer dollars to go to school, lending is set up, and that's underwritten, subsidized by taxpayers, is for four-year colleges. So this mindset of success is a different route than the trades. So we've got to start there by changing that and really highlighting members of Congress that have exposure to this and seeing it as a pathway. It starts with career counselors, that they need to understand that success for them and the way they're measured can't be just somebody going to a college and it being, and then them getting recognized because someone went to Harvard versus the local, trade school. So we've got to do that. The lending's got to be set up so it's equal for that. That carries over even to our military when they're coming out, of how kind of GI funds are spent, something we're working on. But usually it's kind of all dumped into something versus them knowing if they want to be part of it. I was just on yesterday with a school that's being stood up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and talking, and they've got a big pot of funding they want to spend on this. So I'm like, hey, why don't we start with getting the person to do a ride along? Let's work on the liability side of stuff to make sure they can have an experience to see if they want to be part of this amazing industry. And I'll jump back to something that I learned early on. Air conditioning is both heating and cooling. And how we spell it, we can all kind of work to figure that out, whether it's hyphenated or two words or not. It's fascinating to see that with our 3,000 member companies, but it's both the heating and cooling. So we all, I mean, even in our own industry, kind of the lexicon that we use, we forget about that, and it's no longer about comfort. I'm not sure it really ever was. Maybe when Lewis Carrier started with the printing press, it was about how to, get the things not to stick and all. But this is about the life of people now. You see that after a disaster. We can't go without what's happening here, not only just for the the vaccines and things we talked about in our food, but we're conditioned to live in a space that's now been climate controlled. And then you get into the fact, I'm going to, y'all bear with me for just a second, but in residential and light commercial, half the HVAC installations in the country are losing 40% of their energy efficiency. So these kids that we're working to get to with Ryan's book, they can literally change the world. The most energy consumed in our country comes from heating, cooling, and refrigeration. The average building, more than half of it's going to that. So if we've got a 40% deficiency because it wasn't installed correctly, the system was oversized, the ducts were designed poorly and undersized, these folks could literally be on the front lines of solving our energy.
Came back.
We need to think of ourselves way bigger.
One sec.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I don't
Can
hear
you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yep.
Oh,
Okay,
you're back.
we're back.
Yeah,
So-
Jordan, just make sure you touch the computer
The
over here and
soapbox
there.
fell
So,
off from underneath me.
Something glitched out.
well,
So-
the screen just went black for like 10 seconds, and then the audio went out for like, no,
Okay.
not 10 seconds, for like 1 second, and then the audio was out for like 6 seconds. And obviously, much like the air conditioning systems, we demand they work at optimal level. Otherwise, we throw a goddamn fit. And
So we had it as Bart was talking about glitches and problems. We had a glitch and a problem. So sorry, Bart, but if you can bring it back to where you were.
Sure, absolutely. I'm not sure where I cut off with you guys. I was attempting to apologize for my soapbox, but one of the things I was getting to was installation. So we could literally change the energy consumption usage, whether you're interested in climate change and all the things associated with that, or global warming. The folks here that Ryan's written the book for will be on the front lines of changing that if they know their profession, do a good job, and then they can change stuff for people's health. You know, in our homes, every time a system's oversized, we probably have mold issues. We have respiratory issues that carries over to, again, it all impacts us as taxpayers. So we need to embrace that we're no longer comfort. We are essential. We're something, tied to people's health and well-being. And it's tied literally to the technician. It's no offense to the manufacturers. Y'all make great products. Contractors do a horrible job of doing right by it, but they're also doing a horrible job of looking after the consumer, the taxpayer,
The
and all
shortage
that.
in the workforce actually perpetuates the bad installations. People that may not have the technical expertise are forced to do the work because there's no other technician there to do the work.
yeah,
So the cause is wonderful.
and I do, not to plug Centrotherm at all. We really don't do that on here, but I'm sure you're not super familiar with what we do, but our main product line is designed for high efficiency systems, right? What we offer here kind of fits into this mentality because it is a better version of a previous product that's designed so that energy loss doesn't happen anymore. So we go on the more high efficiency heating appliances such that there is that heat loss doesn't occur.
Right.
So we're pretty aligned with that mentality here, just by the nature of the products that we are producing. So we're in full agreement with or we're all pretty philosophically aligned here.
So let's take it back to Ryan for a second. First book was about plumbing. Tell us your thought process of how you brought about this new book. Obviously, you changed gears a little bit.
And actually, before you do that, I want you to give the title. The first one was called "The Water Came to a Stop," correct?
Yes, yeah, the water came to a stop, and the next
You're on your
book,
corner.
yeah, the end hanging back here, and then also the air came to a stop, which I'll hold up a copy here. Yeah, unless Barton, you want to do
Hold
it?
it up. Let's talk about the book again.
Yeah, amazing. I love that concept that they're not sequels, but they're companion pieces essentially. And obviously, there's a specific goal here. So I love that there's a a thread between them. It's very clever. It's a great title also.
Yeah. So tell us about how you made the change and how you developed the story.
Yeah, happy to. Yeah, so when I started this crazy journey 3 years ago, I said to myself, there's a story here to be told, going back to the workforce shortage. So I've absorbed a lot of this, in my career, that there are, between legislative challenges to funding challenges to all those things. But I think, to me, and there's a lot of time, effort, and money and people being spent, to try to address that, which is it's slowly making change. But there's another way to approach that. Again, I'm a marketer by trade, so you put on my marketing hat for a second. How do you get at people? You go after emotions. And so when I think about this side of the problem we have with workforce development, it's a perception problem. We've all talked about it. We all acknowledge it in our echo chamber, but we have to go outside that chamber to say, how do we get the message being that these people are noble, necessary, and essential to what we do? And so you do that with positive reinforcement. You do that with the work is appreciated when completed, and you do that in a manner which is easily understood. And so when I wrote and came up with The Water Came to a Stop 3 years ago, it was always a series, because in my mind, it's about me. It's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Those are the main 3 skilled trades that really could use a shot in the arm here on positive messaging, right? The idea that the work that they do should be and will be appreciated in the future, right? Because all the things that we've talked about so far are true. These are non-automated jobs. These are jobs that, this work in homes is not self-install yet. It probably will never be.
Well, I mean, that's a crazy thing that we deal with a little bit as well. Obviously, we go on gas-fired appliances, and I've taken far too many phone calls from people who are trying to DIY their own tankless water heater, and I strongly suggest that they call a mechanical contractor who's got licensing to handle gas products. And I don't know, maybe I don't hear from them. I assume they blew themselves up.
You would hope not. You would hope that they took your advice and got a professional.
I don't know. If I don't hear from them again, I can only assume that it was either successful or a catastrophic failure.
Let's be positive.
There's a term in our industry of DIY, destroy it yourself. Maybe you're
that's right. I will never forget that. That's amazing.
That's
I've never heard that, and I will never forget that. That is a great acronym.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back to the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when the writing process started, I think I started with this crazy vision of, okay, there'll be 3 of these things, and like anything, it's an idea, and then until you actually do it, it's not going to happen. And so writing the first book led itself to, well, let's launch this. Let's see where it goes. Let's see what impact we have. Look, the journey I went on in the plumbing book, I just could not have imagined. I had some speaking arrangements and engagements. I had a lot of positive momentum. And the thing that I think I always felt so happy about and compelled with, now as the second one is out, is now kids either in my neighborhood or friends and family say, you're not Ryan the guy. You're almost like you're Gomer. You're the plumbing guy. You're a water heater. You're a thermostat. Like, they're now like connecting me to some of these pieces and parts that are written in the story. That's what it, to me, is about. Is getting people to realize that those pieces, parts, and the people that do the work. Yes, I happen to be the storyteller of that, but really, there's lots of them out there. In fact, so many stories of the plumber comes to a friend's house now, and the kids aren't scared of it. In fact, they're asking questions like, there's PEX pipe, or you're going to look at our water heater. They now know those terms. That's the same vision that when I wrote the HVAC book in mind, was how do we get those terms, ingrained with the kids? And so when they come to these homes, they look at it in a positive way, and almost like, thank you for completing this work, Mr. or Mrs. Technician. We needed you, and without you, we wouldn't have this problem resolved. And so, that's really where it came from. Look, another thing I'll mention about the HVAC book is, this has come up a few times already, but I have to just say it. The first book was written, the storyline was about one of the things my kid did, right? And if you haven't seen the first book was one of the kids caused a problem with a valve. It gets shut. Let's just say the kid did that, okay? This book, if I won't give away too much of the storyline, let's say it involves a thermostat and it involves the kid doing something with it. Let's just say one of my other kids was the reason that the second one was written, because it caused this problem. So the inspiration was from him, as he now knows.
You have the proper dedications at the beginning of this book. This is to my son who turned the thermostat all the way up and blew the furnace.
Correct. He caused the air to come to a stop, and in the story there, he caused my mother-in-law a lot of discomfort and anger. So yes.
Well, I mean, again, you're doing a great service, and it is a long play to get children involved with that, and it's fascinating. And I'll say that there's nothing a plumber likes more than a bunch of children underfoot while he's trying to work. So, that's definitely helping at the installation and fixing, at the point of, the pain point for them as well. So, yeah, no, okay, I'm curious. Can you plug your illustrator? Who's your illustrator?
Same person, or is it somebody different?
Same person, both books, I'm assuming?
Yeah, same person. Her name's Lana Lee. She's available for hire. She's based in Chicago. I've had a lot of great success with her. What's funny is I kind of rode the wave there with her on the first book, and obviously on the second one as well. The first book, she was very quick on things, got things done. The second book, kind of like the workforce shortage were happening, it's her timeline stretching. Why? She's busier than ever. In fact, she had a nice write-up. I think this book has potential to get listed in either New York Times bestseller or something else. So with a different author, different industry, right? But she does incredible work. Happy with her, and I would very much recommend her if anyone's looking at this space for illustrations. But she's been a pleasure to work with, and dare I even mention, almost all technology based. Like, all the communications are over text or WhatsApp. I mean, doesn't want to talk over phone, which is again a little bit crazy in our industry, right? But in this world, in creative world, that's how we interacted on this and accomplished a result out of it. But yeah, she's very good.
All right, so third book for you. The phone rang and I actually picked it up. So we get these millennials to actually answer the phone because that's quickly how these. I'm one of the rare ones like that. I will actually die. Like so, I'm technically in that age group who is supposedly very anti talking on the phone.
Which is not the case with it.
No, I'd rather call you and get a direct answer. Like my emphatic and pushy disposition is so much that I am not waiting for a text message reply. I will, like you ask him. This guy's probably the biggest victim of it. I just call him and immediately demand an answer on something.
Matthew, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why are you calling me?
So I needed it. I needed it, and I needed it now.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. Please make sure you send us the illustrator's social media stuff so we can add it to the description and check her out, follow her, stuff like that. So, what was her name one more time?
Yeah, Lana Lee is her name, a great illustrator based in Chicago.
Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, and the illustrations in the books are fabulous.
Right. So Bart, question to you. Your organization has sponsored this. How are you helping and kind of getting the word out? Are you cascading this through all your members? What is your plan to get this book out there and to bring awareness to the market? Oh, we lost your audio. Nope.
Oh no,
Ryan?
Yeah. It looks like you might be on mute.
There we go. All right.
We're back.
I muted earlier to make sure I wasn't. Well, thank you for the catch. In terms of me, I want to leverage, our members, so our contractors. I say 3,000 companies. The important part is they're doing more than half the HVAC work in the entire country. So their teams, taking advantage of this, being able to use the book to explain to a family member, no matter where you are, of what you do, how important your job is. So we got to bring up the elevation of the industry. But I envision each owner, each technician to go to their local school and to have a chance to read this to a classroom and be a resource to that school, that teacher, to better understand this industry and hopefully get the kids there to the shop and get to see this, and then get to hear from customers of this rewarding, opportunity to be in this industry. And then we're blessed. We've got relationships with, high profile people. We've got 3 members of Congress that are members of our trade association, the governor there in Tennessee, that are intimately involved in us. So I want to, see them leverage this as well. Again, all back to, to level the playing field, you got to get ahead. You got to win, right? You can't just, it's not just getting along, it's getting ahead of that. So we've got to change that mindset. And one of the things that I would challenge each of us to do, so when y'all are working with your clients, your customers, and I do this for starting with my board, but if you don't want your kid to come work in this industry, you really ought to take a moment and ask yourself why. We've got to change that with ourselves. Like if you don't want, the loved ones that you have in your family to come into this industry, we've got to start with that, our own pride in what we're doing. And we probably need to talk to ourselves a little bit too. This is important stuff you do. I realize each job is challenging, and unfortunately consumer behavior where 90% of breakdowns happen or replacements happen at the point of breakdown. We could change that consumer behavior and probably address our workforce in a different way as well to spread that out over the year.
I'll throw this out to both of you guys because you're focusing on sort of the overarching and again the long-term goal, destigmatization of what it is to work in the trades and stuff like that. Do you agree that we're in a snowball period where that is happening? I mean, you're about to bolster that a little further and help kids understand what have you. In my opinion, that stigma of what it is to be a plumber is abating, and pretty quickly, because I think one of the things is money talks, number one, right? Like people are out there making having very successful plumbing firms, making a very lucrative living, being an actual person who turns the wrenches and fixes your drain clogs and things like that, right? So I think that there is an element of just the actual day-to-day dollars and cents of it. Like I work in an office and I make this money. You go house to house and you make how much more than me? That kind of thing. That's a real thing that I think people are coming to understand. That is a very baseline sort of metric. Your bank account is a very baseline metric to understand. So I mean, beyond that, what else do you think is contributing to sort of the destigmatization of the trades? Because I strongly feel like it is, and I feel as though I've seen it in just the 9+ years that I've been in this industry. You know, I went to, you know, I have a degree in English literature. I have a graduate degree in English literature. I have a bachelor's degree in music theory and performance. I'm like the complete opposite of the person, like the snooty academic elite person that, you know, should probably never work at HVAC. However, I have a mortgage and here I am, you know. So, you know, I get this, and I talk to professionals every day. So what do you think is contributing to this sort of snowball effect, or do you not think it's a snowball effect? You know, I mean, just sort of react to that word salad that I just put out there.
Yeah, thanks, Bart. Yeah, I'd love to react to that. I think there's a couple of things. I think the stigma is still there, at least from one of the conversations that I have with people. Again, I think it's outside the echo chamber, right? They don't kind of understand what exactly this means for most people every day, and they're just a generation or two, you know, introduced to some of those negative stereotypes. College is the way to go. Anything less than that's not. And I think, you know, particularly as you have school debt rising and, you know, other challenges there economically, these are, you know, just from a rational standpoint, they are great careers. But that said, I think that we have to do a better job highlighting, you know, a lot more here, which is one, technology. Look, technology makes these jobs exciting. Kids that are coming in, Gen Zs, younger, et cetera, need to look at these jobs like, look, you got IoT connected product, you have, you know, alert systems, you have monitoring, you have ability to, you know, monitor things from afar. Technology is going to change the game if positioned that way to these kids. Again, not that, you know, not that the technology solves coming into the home and things, but that you're, you know, think more like you're now a cable technician, right, in a home than you're an HVAC person, right? You got to set up the hardware, you got to do that, plus you got to run the computer. That is the kind of thing, again, the future being to a younger generation to connect to. And again, I can't underscore enough this issue, which is highlighting that these are good opportunities, happy things, not, oh, my back hurts, you know, like years and years, 80 hours a week, because that's what the current generations, you know, feel, say, and look like. We got to position this better through the companies, that these are jobs that are, you know, they're healthy jobs to do in a way that makes you feel good. I've always said, anybody that likes to help other people, you ought to be in a skilled trade. If you like help, because what you do day to day will help somebody in those moments, if not multiple times a day. Now, again, will that you be immune from a bad house call, a uncomfortable situation? No, but none of us are. But generally speaking, you're probably going to derive a much more higher life satisfaction. Now you fix something with your hands and help somebody than the office job that you mentioned earlier, Matt.
Sure. I mean, I think that's pretty well said. And actually, the thing that I want to just reiterate is the point you made about technology really, I think, resonates. Right. This is the systems that we are. I mean, again, I don't know shit about any of this stuff. Like I said, I'm a piano player who kind of fell into this. Right. 9 years later, I'm still here. I still consider myself a piano player who's kind of like fish out of water. Right. And I marvel at the Tecmar Wi-Fi systems that control this stuff. I marvel at the Wi-Fi water heaters and the thermostats that you can monitor and control from your phone and stuff like that. And all that sort of stuff really is turning a page. I mean, rather, it's pacing with the world's technology, let's say, but now applicable to things like boilers, water heaters, air conditioner units, condensers, refrigeration, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I guess I can see how the younger generations would get, could garner some excitement around that, because it is techie, it is interesting, it is cutting edge.
I think that more technology going into the trades, the Internet of Things, the home automation, all that stuff linking together, I think is kind of bringing the sexy back, if you would, to the trades, because it's much more complex, and it's not just this big box in my basement that's running. I can touch it on my phone. I can.
I know what my efficiency levels. I can fine tune things, even as a homeowner. Fine, 1 degree this way, 1 degree that way. Control your humidification. If you got like ERV systems, and I mean, there's a lot you can control for your own personal comfort and what have you. So, I mean, I know, as someone who doesn't fix this stuff, that when the guy leaves and all of a sudden my furnace is now running well, I see that person as a hero. I mean, heroes is certainly highfalutin and dramatic, but I certainly see somebody who's keeping me as a happy human being, not miserably cold, and comfortable in my own home, right? So there is a level of gratitude that is, you just have to have.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question to both of you. It's going to be a different spin a little bit. But Bart, tell us about ACCA and kind of your mission and what you're trying to do. And Ryan, I know we hit on it, but your book, if you had to summarize the book, what you want out of the publication of the book, what would that be?
Boy.
Yeah, so Ryan, I'll kick off. So ACCA, we're a national nonprofit trade association. We're set up as our C6 that does the political activities and our C3 that does the education. We've set the standards of proper HVAC installation and maintenance for centuries now. So for those that are the insiders of this industry, us from Manual J, Manual D, Manual S, all these different things of how to do things correctly. And that's not a one-off. The math is always changing. So we work with our partners to make sure that we're keeping up with showing people, and ultimately want consumers to know how to find a good contractor. The Department of Labor statistics says there's over 100,000 people in this space, but unfortunately a lot of those are bad actors. So this is a very unregulated industry, which is probably a big driver for a lot of the private equity money. It's parked here. We have 17 states without a license requirement to be a contractor. We need to change that. We need to work together. But every home that a technician's going in, this book is a chance to leave behind, if they've got a kid there, a grandkid, to do that. If you look at all the generations, and I'm jumping around a little bit on your question here, but from baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z, all of them, the number one influencer for them is their parents. You would think of media and these other things, but their parents. So a book and getting to them early on, I think, is really critical. So I'm looking for us to be that, to use that kind of standard. I think of ACCA as the gold standard of how to do things correctly. And we do that through our partnerships with many of the manufacturers and all that we work with. But that's my goal for ACCA, is for us to use our reputation and then to help one more piece in the puzzle of us trying to get more people to focus on the trades and be proud of it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, great answer. Yeah, I think so. So for me, when I think about the mission of the purpose of the Next Up Trade series and what we're trying to do, and obviously partnering with ACCA, there's a lot of alignment. Generally speaking, I'm not in the business of selling books. I'm in the business of trying to change hearts and minds. And when I think about how do you do that,
this hippie,
that's good. I like it.
Hearts and minds change management, right? But it's true, because I think, again, there's just this negative stereotype that something like this influences people at an impressionable age. But more importantly, the people that are reading these books, and that was mentioned earlier, but the parents, the guardians, the purchaser of these things. If we look at this like, let's see how many books we can sell, we're going to fail. If we look at this like, can we change and sell experiences to influence this stage and hopefully change this problem? That's where we will succeed. And we do that through the reach and the promotion opportunities that a company the size of ACCA does in the United States. That's why we partnered together on this. It makes a lot of sense. And it's echo what Bart said. It's a step, it's a piece of their workforce development outreach programs. And I love this opportunity for their members, and any contractor for that matter, if they have an opportunity to reach into their school libraries, their communities, their any kind of outreach event. This is something that they can do to shape and tell their story, which is, we're here to help you, and they'll be appreciated for doing that.
Another great answer.
Fantastic, guys. Well, we've taken up a lot of your time here. We covered a wide array of stuff, career-wise, goal-wise for the industry, organizations that you're involved with, and even like in the very wide philosophical topics that we're talking about in terms of the industry and beyond. Demographics of the country and things like that. So really, really enlightening stuff. I wish you guys the best of luck with the book. Again, the book is The Air Came to a Stop. The sister of The Water Came to a Stop. And I just want to thank our guests again for coming on and sharing some of this, and also joining us in what is our personal mission of uplifting the trades, destigmatizing what it is to be a plumber, to be an AC tech, to be an HVAC professional, technician, installer, et cetera, et cetera. It's something that benefits everybody, like everybody in society benefits overall when we embrace these trades and have a full complement of workforce. People, if you're listening to this, your furnace will get fixed faster if there are more furnace repair people. That's just basic math. If you're good.
Where can we get the book? What's the best way to get the book?
Yeah, I can answer that. So both ACCA and I have it available in different mechanisms. So ACCA has it on their web store available. You can find it on acca.org. And then also it is available on Amazon. You can buy it either way. Both parties here, benefit. So please, don't choose one versus another for whatever reason. Buy it, whatever you're most comfortable.
From one source, one from the other.
Yes. So we have a nice arrangement. So it's great. Look, and the other thing I'd mention here, we didn't talk about, the book is available in Spanish. So it is a big, yes. So it's English.
Fantastico.
Yes. So it is probably one of my proudest projects. Personally, I'm so thankful that ACCA sponsored that and really drove me to think about it, to be honest, in the conversations I had with Bart. But it is available in Spanish. It's been peer reviewed and professionally reviewed. It is such a needed thing as the Spanish-speaking populations, grow in the United States, and especially in our industries. So it's available in Spanish.
Let me stop you right there. Let's talk offline. I can hook you up with the top Spanish language AC influencers in the United States.
Ooh.
So let's talk a little further afterwards. I have two guys in mind who you want to be on.
Three, you
want to be on team. Two. Well, one immediately to mind.
Yeah.
A guy who yesterday was doing an Instagram live that I tuned in for. I don't understand any of it because he was talking about thermostats in Spanish, and he had about 100 people.
It's a big community out there.
That is
very big.
A very wise choice to make this a bilingual, a libra con tu lenguas diferencia. I don't know. I'm close.
El air se tubo. That is the name.
There we go. Fantastico. Marvelous. I don't know.
Again, gentlemen.
So
thank you.
Esteemed child author Ryan Kiscaden, thank you so much. President and CEO of the ACCA, Bart James. Thank you for joining us here on the Mechanical Room. Been a pleasure. We'll talk to you guys soon, and good luck with the book.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
And we have returned.
We are back
to the blue room here, or green, depending on what angle Jordan is selecting to show right now. We're both wearing blue jeans pants, so we're kind of like showing right through.
I had to take my blue jacket
and
off.
I have a brand new tattoo that is blue, and it appears green when we green screen my tattoos out. So that's kind of funny. That's fun byproducts.
Don't take the rest of your clothes off.
I got blue in lots of places, so I'd really be more like the Invisible Man when it comes down to.
That's the strategy.
What a show! What a show!
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah,
great interview, great winner for Show Us Your Pipe.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Really packed with interesting stuff. Industry uplifting guys on the interview who are really going sort of out of the box to bolster the and uplift the trades, right? I mean, children's literature is not something you immediately associate with air conditioning, so it is certainly a creative methodology to spread awareness, I suppose. Yeah. And of course, the next gen Show Us Your Pipe segment was
something every technician should strive to do.
Yeah,
because it was quite amazing.
I mean, while I agree philosophically, you simply cannot do that type of installation at many locations, right? No. So that's really a perfect storm for that one, right? I mean, it's the type of thing that has 11 friggin' bathrooms that requires 2 or 3 tankless, and then the tanks on the side, and I don't know how many takeaways that was, 10, 12 zones or whatever. I mean, that means that they are pumping hot water to 15 different locations, right? I mean, that's what that's all about.
Plus,
so fascinating stuff. I'm curious as to what's going on in there.
Like we said earlier, we want to have them hopefully for the next episode to walk us through that installation. Because it's quite amazing.
I mean, 11 bathrooms is one thing. Does it have more than one kitchen? Is it an Airbnb? Is it a hotel? A hospital? I mean, I'm fascinated by that whole thing.
But whoever owns it should be proud of that damn room.
Like we said,
saying amazing.
You get rid of your TV, make that the living room. Everybody just sits around, serve your meals like just next to those NTIs, and everybody can bask in the glow of how beautiful that is. I mean, that's nicer than many living rooms.
Say that again.
That mechanical room?
Yes.
It's nicer than many living rooms.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, you could dwell in there. I mean, just gaze upon it and just enjoy.
Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you had that'd be part of the house tour, right? Yes. I mean, I don't really show people my furnace. It's kind of like tucked in back behind, It's not. It's like, welcome. This is a 20-year-old train. It does the job, but not nearly as aesthetically spectacular as what Dylan and the team did at that house. So congratulations to them. You have any final thoughts you want to share before we sign off on this?
Well, this is going on what, year 4? This is our 4th year, 3rd year?
This is season 4.
Season 4.
Season 4.
We've racked up a number. Stay tuned. We've got at least one more coming this year, right?
We have 1 or possibly 2, depending on how we divide it. And then you never know. This one was kind of spur of the moment. You weren't supposed to be here.
I was not.
So
it was fortuitous that I was.
Yes, quite serendipitous that we could get all of the moving pieces together at once. You were supposed to be in, I want to say, the Buckeye State.
I was supposed to be in Ohio this week.
Yeah.
But I'm here in lovely New York.
Ohio is round on the ends and high in the middle.
I think you're right.
I'm similar in that way. So I'm very Ohio.
You never know what you're going to get.
Very Ohio-like in terms of states stuff.
Yes.
I don't know. If I had to assign a state to you, what would that be?
I don't know.
I don't think I'd actually be Ohio if we actually really had to pick one. But
I never thought about it.
Yeah, I know. We're getting a little zany.
We are. And on that note,
you're pretty progressive. You're
on some things.
You're international.
I am.
So you're not Kansas.
I'm not Kansas.
No.
Yeah, Kansas, I'm not.
Yeah. No, I have to think about it.
We may give you an answer next time. He'll greet me as in our co-host today from wherever.
Oh, me?
No,
me. You? Oh yeah. Well, I would say Astoria could fit. But
Astoria would fit. But that's
And I found out that's where that Mr. Stavros lives.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Alex said he's seen him on the street.
No way.
He said it's been a little while, but he said that he's seen him like walking in the neighborhood.
That is wild.
Yeah, this is the second podcast in a row that I'm bringing up this guy, Stavros Halkias, who since we filmed last, I'm happy.
Maybe we can have him on our show.
I'm comfortable to say that he is my favorite working comedian today.
I watched a little bit of that episode that you shared with me, and it was quite funny.
Oh my God, he's so funny. I'm a big Norm Macdonald guy, but Norm Macdonald is not working today. So Stavros, Stavi baby, as you're known. I'm going to tag you again when we post this.
Did you tag him last
I
time?
did.
Did he respond?
You did not, because I tagged the wrong guy. I tagged some.
Stavros is quite a common name.
I tagged some other Greek jabroni named Stavros Alkias, and then I didn't realize that his Instagram is actually Stavi Baby 2. Okay. So I will tag the correct account this time. Stavros.
And then tell him tune in to the very end, and we want you on the show next time.
Even better than that, Jordan, please clip out this section here, and you can include me asking for this. Clip out this section where it says, Stavi, you're one of my favorite comedians.
I'm one of your fellow Greeks, Yasu.
Yes, indeed. We would love for you to come on this podcast if you're willing. I know you're on tour right now. You're coming to Albany to plug his dates. He's going to the Egg on May 7th.
Oh, no shit.
So I think I'm going to probably go to that show.
I would love to go to that show.
Yeah, let's do that. So Stavros will be at the Egg in Albany in May. Now we're plugging his stuff.
That's okay. That's what this is about.
Yes, hopefully, if you see this, Stavros, we're promoting your local material here because you are hilarious and funny, and I really again, you're my favorite comedian. Do you want to come on the show? We'd love to have you. What kind of water heater do you have in your house?
We can ask him that question
We definitely can.
when he joins us.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.